Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome. Let's just adjust this down. Get myself comfy in my chair. Thanks for joining me. Today we are talking about listening to your feelings. So this is Debz Cooper, Global Stressologist. Thanks for joining me. Like I said, today we're talking about listening to your feelings, which is I'm sure I say this every time. It's a goodie. And first, I really want to emphasize how important this is. And this is clearly why I'm doing a video on this about listening to your feelings. Um, oh, did I say Debz Cooper, Global Stressologist? I don't even know. I just want to go straight into it. Let me know if you're on the call live, if you are here, replay where you are in the world. That would be super cool. And feel free to share it, if you feel like it, if you have found some value. So let me go to listening to your feelings and what that means. And growing up, I used to think, well, actually, I don't know about growing up, but recently, in the 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, I used to think burying your feelings or hiding your feelings was the way to go. And I don't know where that came from, that story came from. I don't know, growing up we had the suck it up, princess, build a bridge, get over it, those old sayings that can trigger a lot of people now. I grew up with that, but I don't know where they actually came from and about hiding your feelings instead of now more and more people are talking. And I think that's really valuable because if you don't deal with anything, if you don't deal with anything emotional, communication, or anything, it is going to run you and it's going to control you and it's going to get freaking bigger than what it is. And I don't know if I need to say that again, but if you don't deal with it and you have your blankie and you put your blankie over your head and you don't want to deal with it, you have to deal with it at some point in time. And if you don't, it just gets bigger. And when I say that, I used to say, get yourself a blankie and pull a blankie over your head and just not cope with whatever's going on. That's great. But ensure that that blankie gets smaller and smaller and smaller until it's a face cloth size. And you just want to try and put over your head, but you actually realize you can't. You're going to have to deal with it. So it's okay to park things until you're ready and the time's right for you. But you must deal with it. No matter how big or small it is, it's wiser to deal with it straight away. Like when I say straight away, if something happens to you immediately, you don't have to deal with it right there. And then you can just sit and feel your emotions. But you will have to deal with it in the next 12 hours, 24, 48. Don't let it be a week. Don't let it be 2 weeks. Don't let it be a month. Because the longer you let it go, with everything in life, the bigger it escalates. Oh, Lisa. Yep, I understand. Today's a beautiful day for Lisa and her family. Yellow roses and a cackle. So we know what that's about. Thanks, Lisa, for joining me. When I looked at the Google word for feelings, it was quite interesting. It came up with a couple of things, and it said one was an emotional state or reaction. And I actually was a little bit peeved off with the word emotional, but okay, an emotional state or reaction. The other one was an idea or belief, especially a vague or irrational one. Now, I didn't really like the irrational one because who are they to tell me that I'm being irrational? Who are they to tell me that I'm being emotional? Who are they to tell me that this is my own feelings? Don't shut my feelings down. Don't dismiss my feelings. Don't shut them down. Don't wipe me. They are my feelings to do. So when I started going, what does feelings mean to me? It means, yes, it's an emotional state or reaction, but it's actually just a reaction that comes into your, and I call it your physical body. So there's an emotional state is when you have the wobbles, when you have mindset blocks, or anything, and when I say mindset blocks, anything that stops you from moving forward. Anything that blocks you, stops you, makes you stumble, anything that locks you into where you are from moving forward. there's two types of feelings. There is positive feelings, and then there's negative feelings. And at the end of the day, they're all signs to wake you up to your truth. They're all signs to wake you up to your truth. And whether I say they're positive or negative, they're actually just feelings. They're just feelings that have stirred up inside you. And that's what they are. So yes, there's positive, and yes, there's negative. But when you work through your mind on the positive or negative to whatever feeling this is, they're just feelings when you take away the positive or the negative, because your mind can flip to anything. If you have, when we label it positive, so let me talk about being humble. If you're flying high about life or something amazing has happened in your world, I'm not just talking about, oh yay, this has happened. I'm talking about, yeah, far out. Yeah, this is freaking amazing. This is brilliant. This is the most amazing thing ever. That's called flying high. When you are flying high and you're pom-pom momenting, someone or the universe will humble you. And they will bring you back down to center and balanced and poised and neutrality. So the key is to humble yourself when you're in that state of elation, dopamine high, flying high, whatever you want to call it. It's wiser to humble yourself before somebody or something comes in and humbles you. And you'll hear about people who have crashes in cars, and just prior to that moment they will have been taking a phone call that they're high as a kite or something like that, and the universe has humbled them right back down to, whoa, what's happened? So it's wiser to not draw that into your life and actually humble yourself, which I'll give you a tip on how to do. And if you're scooping in the mud, I call it scooping in the mud, if you're scooping in the mud, there's always somebody there to help pick you up. So at that, when you're scooping in the mud, you're already humbled. There's somebody there to help lift you up. And we have a variety of people who help us, from strangers to a story on the radio, to a song, to a friend, a colleague, something like that. So now I just wanted to flip back to the positive and negative feelings when we talk about feelings. To make them just a feeling and to take the sting, or as the dictionary says, the emotional state out of that feeling. If you have something that you're elated about, the dopamine, and I talked about humbling yourself, it's wise to look at the downsides of that event, that emotion, whatever's going on. If you can come up with 3 to 5 downsides of that very quickly, you will humble yourself enough to be present and poised and focused and allow you to move on. Now, if you're in that slugging in that mud, as I talk about slugging in that mud, if you can look at the upsides to whatever is happening to you, then that is going to bring you out of that mud. And sometimes it just can take 3, sometimes it can take 5, sometimes it can take 8 to 10, whatever it takes. Sometimes it takes longer. The day before it may have taken longer than what you're doing now. Yesterday I talked to somebody and we just came up with one upside to one thing, and it was enough to unravel a whole wealth of feelings and emotions of gratitude that came from that. So like I say, if you're flying high, something will humble you or someone will humble you. So just be aware of that situation, to what's going on, and just humble yourself before it comes in. Now that's your mind, because your mind can tell you all sorts of stories when you have a feeling. Your mind can tell you all sorts of stories, but your physical body does not lie. You can flip this around and you can do anything you want to allow you to make decisions, yes or no or maybe, but your physical body will not lie to you when it comes to a true core feeling. So when I talk about your physical body, you will have examples which are, physical symptoms. So you may get the tummy jitters, the butterflies. You may get the goosies. You may get the, oh, what's going on here? The feeling of unease, the feeling of excitement, the heart flutters. You know, they talk about love at first sight. You see someone, your heart flutters. Any of those physical symptoms, you know, someone talks and you get the hairs on the back of your neck, or a song plays and you get that erectese in your skin, any of those things, that's all part of your physical symptoms of your body. And you can't deny those. They are there and they wake you up to your truth and what's important to you, not someone else, and nothing that's going to clog in your mind. When we think about these things, and I talk about your mind, and your mind can tell you all sorts of stories, you have past hurts or past stories that you store up in your mind, and they can control you in this everyday world. So when I talk about these, I think about, you know, maybe a partner dabbled outside the relationship on you, and now you don't trust anyone. So because of that, anyone you meet, your feelings may come up from that past story or that past hurt or whatever you're going to call it. I'm going to label it a story because it's a story that you've held on to. So if somebody has dabbled outside the relationship and then you meet someone new, your mind and your body may go, oh, they're going to do to me what's happened to me previously. And so you're not going to trust them. So you have to resolve it. And you know, I talked about the blankie going over your head. You're going to have to resolve it. And it's a have to, need to, want to, desire to, love to, resolve it. You also may have something, a story that comes in that everyone you meet hurts you. And this is because you've had a betrayal in the past that you haven't resolved. You may come up with a story of, I don't deserve anything good in my world. And when I'm saying these, I'd love you to think if these are actually things, what happens. And this means that you've hurt somebody in the past or yourself from your actions. So these are just stories that you have stored up in your mind that have to be resolved to move forward in life. You may say, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of love. And that means you've done something bad in the past to somebody or yourself. I'm not good enough. These are core things that people truly believe that everyone has, that flitches in and out of their life at some time. So I'm not good enough means I don't deserve anything good in my world. I've done something that's hurt myself or others. And you'll notice there's a pattern coming up here. Hurt myself or others. Most are actually others. No one will love me this size. This is a great one that came up the other day. No one will love me this size. And so that's come from a story that someone said to you or behind your back that you've heard, or someone's given you a look, or someone's turned you down, or something like this. This is a story. Can you see how these stories actually stop you from moving forward? This is all part of you being able to resolve this. And we hold on to these stories for as long as they can until we realize that they're actually not serving us anymore. So you must resolve it. And when I talk about resolving it, there's a couple of things to do here. But if you don't, I'm really going to emphasize that your feelings are important to you. So if you don't resolve it, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you think about it, you can think about the snowball coming down the mountain. And as it comes down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger, and it gathers a whole lot of dust, twigs, shite. It gathers a whole lot of shite in the process and scoops. And you don't want to be flattened by that snowball when it hits you. So the key to resolving it is talk. Don't put that blankie over your head. Talk. So you can talk to a friend or a family member or a work colleague. But be aware that those people have their own past stories that they are stored, and they will give you their advice based on their own stories that they've seen or heard. So be aware of that. The other thing with them is if you tell a friend, a family member or something, they may tell somebody else. So if you want this story to stay in a locked safe, they're not the ones to tell. Even though if you say to them, don't tell anyone, if you're actually saying that, you already know they're going to tell someone. Because sometimes people can't store that stuff in when you tell that secret or that asking for advice or something. So be aware of that. So when I think about that, I think about a professional. The professional is, well, supposedly the best person to go to because they have been through the stuff before. They have strategies in place for you. They can help you. And what goes on tour stays on tour. That professional will lock that in that, well, I'd like to think a professional does, lock that in a vault so that it's just between you and them. Now, there's some unique professionals out there, so I'm only going to say find someone who you resonate with. If you're on this video, you clearly resonate with me, reach out, because that is what I'm here for. I'm here to listen to your feelings, help declutter this, and inspire you about moving forward in life. Even if it's just to help you get out of bed. Even if it means you actually want to go for this new promotion, how do you ask for that? So there's different levels of whatever's going on. But you must resolve it. Do not do it alone. And when I say do not do it alone, I truly mean don't do it alone. It's way harder to steer the boat, row the boat, patch the boat, get in the boat, do all those things to do it alone. So please don't do it alone. Reach out. And the last thing I'm going to say to you is be grateful. Be grateful that you had the internet here today, that you could watch this. Be grateful that someone shared something with you that resonated with you. Be grateful that someone has allowed you to think at a different level. Be grateful for you being in this situation, for whatever's going on in your world. That's me. Be grateful. I am signing off now. Thank you very much. I'm extremely grateful you came on here. Thank you, and sending much love to Lisa and her family today. Let those feelings out. Don't bottle them up. And I will see you next time, next week on another live call. Thank you, everybody. That is me overing and outing.